Hello, welcome. We're going to be talking today about wellness and recreation here at Messiah University and just sharing a little bit about how to stay well and healthy while you're at college, as well as what we offer as campus wellness and recreation at Messiah. So, my name is Alexa, and we're just going to get started today. So first off, what is wellness? Wellness is multifaceted. There's a bunch of different things that go into it. It's not just your physical health. It's not just going to the gym or just what you're eating. Wellness is comprised of so many things. And here you see that there's intellectual, social, physical, spiritual, occupational, emotional, environmental wellness. And all of it is just really a part of mind, body, and soul. Especially here at Messiah, just focusing on, yes, the physical aspect of wellness and health, but also the mental aspect and the mindfulness that we have, and then also the spiritual aspect and how our soul is doing and how we feel we are spiritually. So, wellness is comprised of all of these things, and we're going to get talking about them now. So, when we look at what areas of need are present at college, we have a survey that Messiah participates in every year called the Acha Nacha, and just kind of assesses health at college. And based on this survey, specifically at Messiah, we see that there are needs in a few different areas. And then we're going to cover those things today. So, nutrition is one of the main needs, exercise, sleep, and stress and anxiety. So, all four of those things came out really high as needs that were needed to be assessed and looked at and maybe improved at on college campuses, including Messiah. So, first off, we have nutrition. Nutrition is often overlooked at college. There's an abundance of food that you can find at Lottie or the Union or the Falcon, but it's not necessarily always the most healthy. And so there's smart decision making that has to go into play there. And also, when it comes to nutrition, a lot of times it's overlooked, but it is important now to function well, to have energy, and for our brains to just operate. And over on the right, you see that even though your brain is only about 2% of your body's weight and about 3 pounds, it uses 20 to 30% of the calories you consume. So, especially being at college and constantly learning, constantly being in this state of using your brain to function, we need nutritious food. We need calories that are going to support the amount of brain work we're doing. So, nutrition is important now. And kind of here's a little thing about what to eat. Basically, your plate should be half of mixed colors of fruits and vegetables. So, looking at potatoes, apples, broccoli, things that are high in iron, like broccoli and spinach and those green leafy vegetables. And then also fruits that just provide you with natural sugars, but really healthy antioxidants. So, blueberries, all of that good stuff. Quarter of your plate should be a lean variety of proteins. So, whether that be steak or chicken, or if you are vegetarian, rice and beans, just to get that protein. Fish, too, is a great source of protein, and eggs as well. And then a quarter of your plate should also be whole grains. So whether that be pasta or rice or bread, just choosing whole grains over processed or white bread is always the best way to go. And then when we're looking at water too, water is super important for our health and just maintaining a healthy diet and feeling like ourselves. Water can do so much. So especially like right as you wake up in the morning, drinking water and then continuing to drink throughout the day. On average, we need about 100 ounces. For men, this is a little higher. But for women, it's about 100 ounces a day. So that's 12 to 15 cups. So whichever way you're calculating it, just try to increase your intake of water, honestly. And what's really important to remember at college is that we do need fats for our brain function. Our brain functions off of fat. honestly. And so getting those healthy fats, be it from eggs or avocados or other sources that might not seem like fats and aren't the oily fats, but are still really healthy for us, are good for our brains. And then what's also really important is just making sure you're eating 3 meals a day. Might be really easy to skip a meal to save dining dollars or because you're busy, but really prioritizing eating those 3 meals a day is really important for your health and just staying nutritious and having energy and being able to function and do well in school. So, nutrition at college. College is one of the busiest times of your life, but food is important. So, don't overlook it, don't skip meals. And it's important to just have good, balanced nutrition to withstand the pressures, the to do lists, and the tasks that are asked of you. Academics are impacted by your nutrition. What you put into your body does really come out. So, what you're feeding your body is going to be reflected in how you perform in school, how you can function physically, um, and just how you feel about yourself. So, prioritize nutrition and what you're putting into your body and how you're going about choosing foods to eat. Next up, we have exercise. So, this was another thing that was on the Acha Nacha list of things to prioritize and look at college. And so when we talk about exercise, we want to look at moderate intensity. So this is um, basically a scale of like 5 or 6 when you're thinking about how hard is an activity on a scale of 0 to 10. So moderate intensity is like pretty even. You can talk while doing it. You're not totally out of breath, but it's still exerting power. And then we have vigorous intensity, which is maybe a 7 or 8 on the scale of 0 to 10 out of effort. So this one you might be more out of breath. It might be a little harder to carry a conversation while you're doing it, but it's also really healthy. So either one of these intensities is really good to exercise at. And it's recommended that you get 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity or 75 minutes a week of vigorous intensity. And so just looking at those things, for moderate intensity, we have activities like yoga, like walking or swimming. And then for vigorous intensity, we have spin bikes or running or lifting weights even. So all of these activities are really great for our health, and we can do a mixture of them throughout the week. You can pick activities you enjoy, but just try to get to those 150 minutes or 75 minutes a week. You might be thinking 50 minutes a week, that is crazy. But when we look at it, we see here on this graph that just honestly, having more physical activity than less is just better in general. So whether you're getting that 150 minutes or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity, or whether you're just kind of moving a little more, this next graph shows that basically any physical activity is better than none. And so at college, when you are forced to sit at your desk all day or forced to sit at class all day, you might be walking more from class to class. But just remember the importance of still increasing your activity and your general expenditure of calories and physical exertion throughout the day. Anything is better than nothing when it comes to exercise. So just working on, okay, how are ways that I can be a little more active in my day-to-day life and shooting for that 150 minutes, but knowing that everything counts. So when we look at physical health impacts our mental health. So nutrition and exercise, both of these are really integral in looking at how we perform in school, how we're able to function every day. And at the fitness center, we have a variety of resources to assist you with physical health. So we have group exercise classes. Right now, we're in the second week of those, or maybe third week, depending when you're watching this. But yeah, so those are an option. We have some personalized programming with our strength and fitness coaches. So if you need help figuring out what to do at the gym or a plan that would be really good for you, come see us. And then we also have access to cardio and weightlifting equipment, a big variety. So lots of things to do. And again, if you're not sure what to do or feel lost there, come see us, and we'd love to show you things that might be helpful and beneficial for you and what you like. Then we also have intramural and recreational sports. So we might have tournaments, different weekends, or we might have different leagues that you can join, or just different opportunities to get outside and get some fresh air and get moving a little bit. So there's lots of options to increase your physical health here at Messiah. And just looking at exercise at college in general, exercising regularly helps to regulate your weight and your eating patterns. So if you're needing to improve your weight, whether that's gaining pounds or losing weight, exercising is really good at helping to regulate that. And it also just regulates your appetite, and being healthy, eating wise, is going to come from exercising as well. Exercising is also great for maintaining a good sleep schedule. So when you work out during the day, you then are tired at night and you're able to get better sleep, honestly. And then exercise influences our mental health positively. It helps motivate you and feel more ready to conquer your day. Exercise also gives you a break from the work and the demands that are placed on you at college. So it can be kind of an escape from all of the things you need to do. And it makes you feel more energized and ready to conquer your day. So exercise has lots of benefits. And again, it comes down to just moving more than sitting. So try to increase more movement throughout your day. Next up, we have sleep. So this was the third thing on that Acha Nacha list of things to look at colleges. And what's interesting here, we have some fun facts about sleep, is that only 21% of Americans get their recommended hours, which is 7 to 8 hours each night. So think about your own life. Are you one of those 21% or not? Humans are the only mammals that delay sleep. So we force ourselves to stay up late to finish an assignment or to hang out with people, and we delay what our body is telling us we might need. The perfect nap, according to NASA, lasts for 26 minutes. So napping is not bad. It's not lazy. It's actually good. And the perfect one is 26 minutes. A lack of sleep can affect your memory because sleep triggers changes in the brain, and it helps solidify memories, which we'll talk about a little later. So if you're trying to study or cram for an exam, just remember that sleeping is honestly what helps you remember things. So keep that in the back of your mind as you're preparing for exams and different things academically. Getting less than 7 hours of sleep each night can make you angry, sad, or stressed. So this research is pretty interesting and pretty convicting too. It can really change your mood based on how much you sleep each night. And then lastly, one sleepless night affects your brain in the same way as being drunk. So sleep really impacts our health and who we are, honestly. So why sleep? Sleeping consolidates memories, which means that it takes short-term memories into long-term memories. So things that you learned in class one day aren't going to transfer into your long-term memory. They aren't going to transfer into that memory you can access while taking the exam in 3 weeks unless you sleep. So sleep is super important for academics even, in just remembering information, remembering what we learn and internalizing that. But sleep is also really important for our overall physical health in just allowing muscle to grow, repairing our tissue, healing our body, and preventing illness, which is super important while you're at college and stressed and tired probably and being worn out. It's important that we get sleep to just maintain healthy body functions and to prevent illness. So sleep at college, 7 to 9 hours a night is ideal. So again, think about how many you typically get. Does that match up or not? And make it part of your schedule. It's honestly better to have a consistent sleep schedule. So going to bed at the same time every night and waking up every morning helps your body to adjust and just have a good rhythm so that you're not feeling tired when you wake up. Sleeping also helps your brain to be ready for the next day, helps you remember information from the previous day, and just rest your body in general. So sleep is important, and don't overthink it, and don't say that you'll sleep when you're older or sleep when you're dead, because sleep is really important now to your own well-being and your wellness. So lastly on that Acha Nacha list is stress and anxiety. So stress is the response to a trigger. It can be positive or negative. It's usually short-lived, and it's a response to something external. So something externally might scare us or startle us or stress us out. And typically we go into flight, fight, or freeze mode. Um, so just kind of like that image describes, our brain senses something, we either run away from it, we fight it, or we freeze and just stand there. Um, so that's stress. And then over here we have anxiety. So anxiety has been this more persistent feeling of apprehension or dread in situations that are not actually threatening. So it's similar to stress in that your body is responding as if there's something to be stressed about or scared about, but there's not an actual life-threatening situation that you need to be stressed about. So unlike stress, anxiety persists even after the concern has passed. So you might encounter that you have an exam coming up, and that might bring you stress in the moment. But then if you continue to worry about that and have anxious feelings towards that over the next week or so, then that turns into anxiety. So they're different things. They're similar and connected in some ways, but they're also different. And so we're going to first focus on the stress response. So when the stress response is positive, that leads to growth. So if you are stressed and it pushes you to grow in a certain way, that's really great. And you have personal growth. Sometimes it also helps us to avoid danger. So similar to a gazelle getting chased by a cheetah, the gazelle will sense the stress or the fear and start sprinting in the opposite direction and hopefully outrun the cheetah, or maybe for the cheetah, not outrun. But stress in a positive way also will help us to avoid danger. And lastly, stress in a positive way will help us to work hard and even potentially have a success, which is really great. So stress can be positive. It can help us to grow, it can help us avoid danger, it can help us to work hard, and can just be a good thing for us overall. But stress can also be negative. And so when the stress response is negative, then it leads us to either have chronic stress, which can turn into anxiety, or just have an untamed stress response to something. So here we have listed just a few coping mechanisms. The first one is the 5-4-3-2-1 coping technique. And what this is just kind of a mindfulness technique, something to ground yourself even. And it starts with just acknowledging 5 things you can see around you, and then acknowledging 4 things that you can touch around you, acknowledging 3 things that you can hear around you, acknowledging 2 things you can smell around you, and then acknowledging 1 thing you can taste. So this technique is really helpful if you're in the moment, you're feeling stressed about something, you can't quite calm down, even if you're feeling anxious. This is a grounding technique that is really helpful and you can use at any moment, and no one even knows that you're doing it. So 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, and 1 you taste. And that's just to make you more aware of your surroundings, remind you that you're okay, that you can still sense things, and that you are still here. Second technique you can kind of do if your stress response is negative is you can sit and stand with your elbows slightly back. So pinching those shoulder blades together in the back. Inhale in and take a deep breath. Hold your breath and then exhale it out. And you can repeat that as many times as you need to until you feel calm or peace, or just return to a neutral state. And breathing deep like that is super helpful. And again, no one might not even know you're doing it in the moment, but it can be very helpful in calming you down. And then lastly, just thinking positive. Easier said than done, but when you're feeling stressed, try to flip situations that you are viewing as negative or worrisome in the moment to situations that are positive. So, how could, if you're feeling like something will be very bad, how could it turn out great? How could it be really beneficial? So just thinking positive and trying to change your perspective on something. So overall, there's been a stigma regarding mental health in the past for a while, and still remains to some degree. In that, why don't you just feel better? Why don't you just try harder? And those things just aren't true. The stigma might be there, but the truth is that we can't always change the way we feel or the way we think or the way we respond to triggers. Um, and so anyone can experience anxiety. It can happen to anyone at any time. Anxiety doesn't choose who it wants to affect, and we don't choose to be affected by it. And the truth is that the more we live under a stressed environment and a negative stress response, then the more likely we are to form anxiety along with other physical and mental health issues. So, if you feel you are constantly under a state of stress or you're constantly viewing triggers as stressful and you're not seeing that positive stress response, it's only negative, don't be afraid to reach out. At Messiah, we have wonderful counselors and groups that are focused on helping students cope with anxiety because again it can happen to anyone and it probably happens to a lot more people than you think or than you know. And anxiety doesn't have to always be diagnosed to feel anxious, and so if you feel anxious or feel stressed and you want help with that, we are here to help you. Counselors at the Engle Center are there to help you, and yeah, we're just ready to kind of give you techniques or tips to help you feel better about viewing stressors positively or just dealing with anxious feelings or thoughts. So, your mental health is a huge part of your overall wellness. It's not just physical or mental, it's both of them, and it's spiritual. And so, mental health impacts a lot of what we do, including our academics. It impacts how we feel because it is attached to our physical health. And so it can really dictate who we are and how we act and how we perform. And so we have a variety of resources to help with mental health here at Messiah. We have a group called Minds Matter that puts on events to spread awareness about mental health, educate about mental health, and to just promote mental wellness and being healthy in your mind. We also have a group exercise class called Thrive that helps to focus on anxiety management and just to center on mind, body, and soul health and point us to those things and see the importance in them. And then we also have counselors at the Engle Center who would love to meet with you to talk about anxiety or stress. We also see that there's a strong connection between mental health and exercise. So this little graph shows that people who had acute or habitual anxiety or mental health issues benefited from exercise in these different ways. So basically, we can just look at cognition, that first category. And for adults, which you all are, there's a reduced risk of dementia when people exercise habitually or just have a exercise pattern. We see that quality of life is definitely improved when you're exercising regularly, and quality of life just is all forms of wellness, so mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. And then we also just see that if we skip down to anxiety, for adults, there's reduced short-term feelings of anxiety and long-term feelings of anxiety. So exercise really helps to decrease the effect that anxiety has on the body, physically and mentally, and is a great way that you can cope with anxiety or stress. So stress and anxiety at college, Some tips to kind of work through this is one, just take a deep breath. Um, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxious, try those grounding techniques or the deep breathing techniques. Um, and honestly, just reach out for help if you need help. Um, yeah, there's no shame in asking for help or wanting to speak to someone about feeling stressed or anxious. Um, it's good to practice self-care and to take care of yourself, and that is not shameful at all. So please reach out. Some tips we kind of have is to find a work zone and like some safe zones. So find places that you will do work in, and then find places that you definitely won't do work in. So this can be helpful just so that you know that there's places that you can go to when you're safe, and you know, like, okay, this isn't a work zone. This is somewhere where I can relax and not be stressed. Make sure you're giving yourself mandatory breaks from work too. Be sure that like you give yourself rewards. Like if you finish a certain chapter, like then you can have a break, or you can watch a movie with friends some night, or different rewards or breaks that you enjoy personally and that will motivate you to do work, and also just knowing that you have a break is really beneficial. And then practicing good self-care is important as well. So breathing, taking care of yourself by eating and sleeping and exercising, it all goes hand in hand. So being sure that you are taking care of your wellness is important. So what's the secret? How do we have good wellness overall? We give you a lot of tips, a lot of things to think about. And honestly, the secret is rest. Um, Having time in your schedule that is not hurried, that is not just everything at once and super busy. Make sure you have time to rest and time to rejuvenate and time to just reflect and be you without any of the pressures of school or other factors. Make sure you have time to rest is really important. And then also, making sure that you have some stopping cues. So if resting is helpful to you by going on social media or watching Netflix, remembering to have stopping cues. It's really easy to get sucked into certain media platforms, things that can just keep scrolling forever, or things that automatically play the next video. Really hard to break those habits and to not make a break last forever. So if you're resting by using social media or Netflix, have a stopping cue, set a time limit. Don't let yourself get sucked into things that won't be beneficial for you. And also, just find healthy outlets for a break. So whether that's journaling, going for a walk, talking with a friend, taking a nap, eating a healthy snack. There's plenty of ways that you can reward yourself and take a break from school and rest that are healthy. And social media and Netflix can be one of those things. But make sure that you don't get sucked in at the same time, because it's really easy to. So there's some ideas of breaks, but find what works for you and what's healthy for you and truly lets you rest. And then when we're looking at our day, we have sleep as a good chunk of our day, hopefully. We have work as the biggest portion of our day. So whether that's going to class or going to a job you have on campus or doing homework, all of those things go into the work category. And then we also have surviving. So activities like eating, showering, sleeping, or not sleeping, eating, showering, brushing teeth, washing your face, all of those great healthy things. And then we have this personal time that is almost smaller than any other time on the list. And what we put into that personal time is pretty important. It matters. It will dictate if we are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually drained or fulfilled and well. So think about, what do you fill your personal time with? When you're not sleeping or working or surviving, what do you do? How is your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health? Is what you're filling your personal time with contributing to your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health? Or is it hurting it? And what can you change or focus on to improve those things? How can you improve your wellness with the personal time you have and how you're using it? So, those are some things to think about. And lastly, we just want to encourage you to schedule your priorities. So, take time each month or week to just schedule out when you're going to eat each day, when you're going to exercise throughout the week, when you're going to sleep. Set strict, like going to bed times and waking up times, when you're going to have mental self care, and what are those things going to be. Schedule your spiritual health in as well. And just schedule in rest times when you can just be with friends if that's relaxing, or read a book or watch a movie, whatever's relaxing for you. Make sure you schedule those things in if you want to prioritize them. And hopefully you do want to prioritize them. But make sure you're scheduling those in. And then fill in your commitments, like class, homework, extracurriculars, friends. And you might have to figure out which one of those comes first, your priorities or your class. Both of those are kind of needed, so schedule those accordingly. But make sure you're scheduling your priorities, because then you have your flexible time, and that can be used for how you want and to do other things. But having your priorities, like sleeping, eating, exercising, and practicing self-care mentally, are really important if you want to have a successful wellness and wellness path. It's really hard as a college student. I was literally a college student last year, and so I get the scheduling and the hardness it is to schedule these things and to prioritize them, but it is really worth it if you do. So yeah, when your priorities are aligned, everything else will be too. Not magically, but with hard work, it will pay off. So if you have any questions, come see us at the fitness center, email us, shoot us a message, and just ask for help in any areas you may need. If it's scheduling things, if it's figuring out a workout plan, if it's just wanting to learn more about wellness in a certain area, please just reach out to us. We're more than happy to help and to talk with you and meet with you and give you tips or techniques on things. But yeah, we're wishing you the best school year, and hopefully you learn a little bit about wellness, your own wellness, and things you might need to work on or improve, and things that you're doing really well at. So have a great school year, and if you need anything, come see us.